Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this?
Bravery Default. Oh, the comedy. A very good game. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy III, Final Fantasy V with the job system. It was a very good game up until halfway. You know, the next 25% of that was a little lacking, a little repetitive, and then it picked up again and it finished out strong. But my God, people, look how much of a beast I am. I perfected, flawless victory, double perfect, the boss of the game. He did not touch me one time. I did not lose 1 point of HP from him the entire time. An unscathed victory. All to my brilliant work and my broken god tier team. Now, if you haven't played this game and you don't want a broken god tier team, then don't watch this video, because the team you're about to see here, right here, is demolition. It'll wipe anything out. There's no stopping it. There's no getting around it. There's no need for any other team. So, first off, you make Tiz and Ringabel a monk. And their secondary class, you make it a dark knight. So you have martial arts as their primary technique, and dark arts as their secondary technique. You hook each of them up with HP 10% plus, speed 10% plus, recovery, and hasten world. What this does is it gives them 10% HP up, which gives them 9,999 HP or higher. It makes them 10% faster, which makes them go quicker. It gives them steady MP recovery, which means they will never run out of MP using the minus strike. And Hasten World, which is a good spell or a good ability, which raises all allied enemy BP by 1 at the end of every turn. Have 2 people using it, it raises it by 2. Have 3 people using it, it raises it by 3. So the overall strategy with this team is to deal massive damage with Tiz and Ringabel in the monk form using the Dark Knight and the monk spells. Abilities, whatever you want to call them. First things first, you use the Phoenix Flight. Phoenix Flight will reduce your HP to 1, but it will convert all that sacrificed HP into damage. For the next 3 moves, you use Minus Strike, which is a Dark Knight move, and that takes the damage you've already taken and takes that entire amount and puts it forward to the enemy. So Phoenix Flight is going to take your HP down to 1 and deal 9,999 damage, and Minus Strike will deal 9,999 damage because that is the total of all the HP you have lost. So between both of them, you're going to be doing 80,000 per turn. I know, it's amazing. Now, next up, you're using Agnes, and she is a Spiritmaster and a White Mage. Now, her ability is what makes this whole team flow. You have Protect Ally, which means if anybody were to take some kind of miracle hit, she would stand in the way and block it. You have Steady MP Recovery, so she never runs out of MP. And you have Stand Ground, which gives her a chance to survive any KO or any fatal hit, should any miraculously KO hit happen, but that'll never happen. But for example, if anybody on the team is going to get killed, she has Protect Ally and Stand Ground, so she'll take all the hits and she'll survive. But that's just a failsafe for a failsafe for a failsafe. That has never happened, but it's there. Now what you do with Agnes is simple. For the variable, you can use anything. Healing, Ensuna, an item. But the next move you have to use is Stillness, and Stillness basically it nullifies the entire game for 2 turns. All damage done to allies and all damage done to enemies is null for 2 turns. This is why it's important to make sure every character is faster than Agnes or your Spirit Mage or your White Mage, because once you activate this, no damage can be done. As for Edea, I have her as a pirate and a time mage. Now, a lot of people probably are like, this combination doesn't even work. What's so good about this combination? It's not really a combination that works, but it helps the other three in the team. The pirate is a physical beast. It pretty much is. And it has a couple nice abilities I like, and the time mage, self-explanatory. It's a time mage. So the abilities you want to hook up with your pirate time mage is two-handed. That way your battle axe can get a way bigger boost when it comes to attack. You want Hasten World because you want it teamed up with Tiz and Ringabel's Hasten World, so the BP recovery will be 3 at the end of every turn. And you want speed to be 20% up. Ringabel and Tiz can get away with 10% up because they're using a monk class, but the pirate class is slightly slower, or way slower, I forgot specifically. So to make sure that she goes before Agnes gets her Stillness out, you had to raise it to 20%. And the overall strategy with the pirate time mage is, first you want to use Shin Smash if you're fighting one character. If you're fighting more than one character, you want to use Slowga, which will slow down the entire enemy team. Next up, you want to use Torrent, which is a weirdly defined ability, but what it does is it's a water-based attack that deals 30% damage of what a normal attack would do, but it does it up to 16 times. Translation, 9,999 damage per shot. And lastly, you want to use Slowga, which will make your party's speed increase, making sure you're going to go before the enemies go. So a basic turn would look like this. Tiz goes first. Phoenix Flight, minus strike, minus strike, minus strike. 40,000 damage. Ringabel, Phoenix Flight, minus strike, minus strike, minus strike. Another 40,000 damage. Then you bring up Edea, Shin Smash or Slowga. Then you bring up Torrent, another 10,000 damage. Then Slowga. So all in all, you're dealing 90,000 plus damage per turn. And bringing up the rear, you use Agnes, and she can do whatever, a cure-all, an Ansuna, a heal, an item, and then Stillness. So you deal 90,000 worth of damage, you act with Stillness, you stop everything from harming you for 2 turns, and then when it wears off, you attack again, and then you activate Stillness again, and you can deal all this damage before Stillness activates, and they can't do anything because Stillness is in effect. And while those 2 turns are passing, your Hasten World is pretty much feeding you all your BP back. It is an unstoppable combo. It cannot be touched. Not even the Nightmare bosses can defeat it. It's foolproof, and I don't know any way it can lose. Also, after you use Phoenix Flight the first time, you don't need to use it again. Just minus strike, minus strike, minus strike, minus strike 4 times in a row, but that's pretty much common sense. So overall, was the game good? The game was fabulous. I put 100 hours into it and really couldn't get enough of it. 3/4 the way in, it was a little rocky, a little repetitive, but hey, if you had a mind of your own and you chose to break the crystal instead of repeating the same thing 4, 5, 6, and 8 times over, you would have finished the game. You would have got a normal ending, but you would have finished the game. I did it that way because I can think for myself, and then I went back and I did it the full way and got the full ending. Overall, game was fun. You have tons of jobs and choices to combine and use. I mean, there's so many other amazing combinations out there. I was using an Arcanist and a red-white mage, which is a red mage, A red mage uses black and white magic up to level 3. And I was just poisoning people and using Exterminate, and I was just putting people to sleep and using Terminate. Mass crowd control, Rhapsody. Not to mention I had the red mage's BP up, so anytime you be the target of any kind of status spell, you gain a BP. Target your own team with poison, you can gain 6 BP for each character per turn. Unlimited BP. That was my team before I chose this right here, the God team with the Dark Knight, because we all know the power of hate is nothing but the strongest.
Great.